For 50,000 years, Earth had been silent, forgotten by the galaxy, thought to be dead or lost in some ancient catastrophe that no one could remember clearly. The legends of humanity were reduced to whispers, stories told in the shadowed. Halls of star academies, warnings spoken in quiet tones by rulers who feared the return of something they did not understand. The Galactic Concord, a powerful alliance of hundreds of alien species, had long kept peace through structure, rules, and fear of the unknown. They had erased the memory of Earth from most official records. It was easier that way. The galaxy had moved on without the humans, building its towers of control and silence. Then everything changed. A signal, strange, strong, and ancient, came. From the Solar System, where Earth was once known to be. The signal spread across the stars, simple and clear, and in an old Earth language long considered dead. We are returning. The Galactic Concord froze. Leaders gathered in panic. The signal was real. It matched no known frequencies of any current species, but perfectly aligned with long-forgotten Earth tech patterns. No one had dared to scan the Solar System for centuries. It was considered cursed space. Now hundreds of probes were quietly launched, governments pretending to ignore each other as they all tried to confirm the truth. What they found was shocking. Earth was there, whole, green, and awake. There were signs of massive technology, rings, of unknown function surrounding the planet. Strange structures floating in space, and energy signatures too complex to decode. Then came the ship. It exited from a fold in space that shouldn't have existed, like a ripple in reality itself. It was sleek, smooth, silent, and bore a symbol no alien had seen in 50,000 years, the Terran spiral. It sent a simple request, diplomatic. Entry to the Concord's high chamber, no threats, no weapons. Just a lone human named Kalen Voss. When he stepped onto the high chamber floor, everyone stared. He looked human, but there was something else in his eyes, something old, something calm. He wore no armor, no weapon, just a simple uniform and a calm expression. The Concord chairwoman asked the question everyone feared. "Why have you returned?" Kalen smiled, soft and unreadable. "Because it is time. Earth has watched, we have waited, and now we remember." No one knew what that meant, but across the stars, tension grew. Quiet panic spread in the ruling systems. What did humans remember? What had they become? Why now? Whispers spread among the younger species, those who had long felt the heavy hand of the Concord. They spoke in secret about Earth's legends. How humans once unlocked stars, built machines that learned, and disappeared at their peak. Some said humanity had left on purpose, that they were never destroyed. Some even believed that humans had evolved beyond matter. Kalen's presence seemed to confirm the most dangerous truth. Earth never died. It chose to be silent, and now it chose to speak. That signal, that quiet message from Sul, had shattered a balance that lasted for millennia. The galaxy held its breath. Something old had woken up, and the false peace that ruled the stars was starting to crack. Kalen Voss walked alone through the towering halls of the Galactic Concord's high chamber, the eyes of 1,000 delegates fixed on him, watching his every move in silence. He was the first human they had seen in 50,000 years, and yet he walked with quiet confidence, without guards, without armor, carrying nothing but a small silver case and a calm, steady gaze. The chamber, carved into the side of a hollowed moon, was filled with the galaxy's most powerful leaders, tall insectoids, floating crystalline minds, beings of liquid light, and others too strange for words. All of them had ruled unchallenged for centuries, their positions secured by ancient treaties, unbroken hierarchy, and fear of change. Earth's return was not just unexpected, it was dangerous. The last time humans were part of the galaxy, they had advanced faster than any species before them, building ships that bent gravity, crafting machines that learned, exploring corners of reality others feared to touch. Then they vanished, leaving behind ruins, warnings, and mystery. Kalen reached the central platform and bowed slightly, not out of submission, but courtesy. The chairwoman, a tall, four-armed being with a voice like dry wind, stood to address him. "You come without escort. Why?" she asked. Kalen smiled, not smug, but sure. "Because Earth comes in peace. We remember who we were. We know who we are now, and we wish to speak." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Many expected threats or demands, not simple words. Kalen opened his case and activated a small orb, projecting a soft image of Earth. It spun slowly, glowing blue and green, alive and beautiful. "For 50,000 years we watched," Kalen said. "We left not because we were weak, but because we were strong, too strong. We feared what we were becoming." Some delegates exchanged nervous glances. Others listened closely. Kalen continued. "We explored places not meant to be touched. We crossed lines, but then we chose silence. We left the galaxy to grow on its own." His voice was calm, almost gentle, yet every word felt heavy. But the galaxy did not grow. It froze. Innovation stopped. Curiosity died. Fear became order. "That is not peace. That is a cage." The chairwoman raised a hand. "You accuse us of dishonor?" Kalen shook his head. "No, I accuse no one. I only show the mirror." The image shifted. Scenes from different worlds appeared. Planets under strict control, species limited by conquered laws, young minds discouraged from asking too many questions. "You built a structure to keep war away," Kalen said. "But you also kept wonder away. Earth has returned not to conquer, not to rule, but to remind." His words echoed through the chamber. Some delegates leaned forward, others leaned back, uncomfortable. One bold speaker, a younger reptilian leader, stood and asked, "Remind us of what?" Kalen looked around, his eyes meeting theirs. "Of what you could become, of what you were meant to be." With a gesture, the orb displayed images from human history, cities floating in the clouds, star gardens grown from living metal, libraries that stored memories in light. It was not a threat, it was a possibility. The chamber was silent. For the first time in centuries, the leaders did not know what to say. Some were afraid, not of war, but of change. Others felt something stir inside them, hope, curiosity, even longing. Kalen stepped back. "Earth offers friendship, knowledge, and exchange, but we will not force it. The choice is yours." And with that, he bowed again and left the platform, leaving behind a room filled with whispers and questions. As he walked out, messages flew across the stars. Some called him a liar. Others called him a prophet. But one thing was clear. Earth had not returned as a shadow. It had returned as a light. And now, nothing would be the same. A week after Kalen Voss spoke before the Galactic Concord, everything began to change, slowly at first, like a deep wind stirring beneath still waters. Some species were curious, others cautious, but a few brave delegates accepted Kalen's quiet invitation to visit a place unknown to them, a forgotten moon on the edge of neutral space, a place called Virelion, marked long. Ego on no star maps and removed from all travel routes. They arrived with doubts and tight security, expecting ruins or old weapons, but what they found was something else entirely, a silver structure buried beneath the surface, smooth and seamless, humming with quiet energy, untouched by time. Kalen stood at its entrance, waiting, alone once more. "Welcome," he said simply, and led them inside. The hallways were wide and curved, dimly lit with a soft glow from the walls, which pulsed gently as if breathing. No doors, no guards, just open paths, clean air, and silence. "This is one of our memory vaults," Kalen said. "Built just before Earth left the galaxy. It holds our history, not just data, but experience." The delegates didn't understand until they reached the central chamber, a vast dome with a circular platform at its center. Kalen stepped onto it and activated the vault. In an instant, the air shimmered and the room was filled with light. Then came the voices, not just recordings, but full memories, living holograms that acted and spoke with perfect clarity. The delegates watched humans from ages past speak with joy, fear, and wisdom. They saw council debates from the final days. Of the old Earth, scientists arguing over ethics, explorers describing what they had found beyond the edge of known space. The images were not just stories, they felt real, layered with emotion and weight. One memory showed a council deciding to leave the galaxy, not in defeat, but in responsibility. "We've grown too fast," one human said in the memory. "If we stay, we will shape the future too strongly. The galaxy must learn without our shadow." Another added, "Let them build their own peace. We will watch, we will wait, and if they need us, we will return, not with force, but with guidance." The delegates looked at each other, uncertain. Was it true? Had Earth really chosen exile for the sake of the galaxy? Kalen turned toward them. "We watched from places you couldn't see, beyond normal space, beyond your senses. We built ways to see without being seen." Some were amazed, others looked troubled. A tall being of energy whispered, "Why now? Why return?" Kalen answered gently, "Because now the galaxy stands still. You have peace, yes, but no progress, no dreams. We came to remind you of what it means to wonder." The vault continued to show more. Forgotten human achievements, entire civilizations built in days, machines that sang to stars, and children growing up learning not only science, but kindness. And then the vault showed the present. Images from hidden probes Earth had placed long ago, worlds ruled by fear, technologies locked away, young species denied growth to protect the old balance. A silent truth revealed. "The Concord," Kalen said, "was built to protect peace, but peace without freedom is not peace, it is control." Some delegates looked ashamed, others angry. One shouted, "You judge us, but you left." Kalen nodded calmly. "We left to protect you from what we were becoming. Now we've returned to protect you from what you've become." His words hung in the air like a storm waiting to break. The vault dimmed. Silence filled the chamber. Slowly, one by one, the delegates began to understand. Earth did not come to take power. It came to offer choice, a way forward, a way back, to wonder. But the Concord's power rested on silence, and now the truth was out. Across the stars, that truth began to spread. Some called Kalen a threat. Others called him hope, but no one could ignore him now. The vault of memory had opened, and with it the galaxy could never return to what it was before. Far from the central systems of the galactic Concord, hidden in deep space near forgotten trade routes and ancient voids, something old began to stir. The Concord High Council, shaken by Earth's return and the revelations from the vault of memory, had secretly ordered a small strike fleet to move against several strange structures Earth had placed across the stars. Unknown machines called the Fabricators. These devices, shaped like smooth towers or floating rings, had begun to appear near quiet planets and empty systems, always silent, never aggressive. But Concord officials feared they were weapons or worse, beacons of invasion. The fleet, made of advanced warships with stealth drives and powerful AI, approached the first fabricator with caution. It floated above a dead moon, still and glowing with soft blue light. The commander gave the order. Energy beams were fired, missiles launched. But before they reached their target, everything changed. The space around the fabricator shimmered, not with shields, but with reality itself, folding like soft cloth. The weapons vanished mid-flight, absorbed into tiny cracks of light, and the ship's systems began to glitch. Screens went dark. Weapons powered down, engines slowed, and then, without warning, every ship was surrounded by a quiet glow. No explosions, no screams, just stillness. Moments later, the systems returned, except now they worked better. Faster engines, cleaner energy flow, clearer communication. Confused, the commanders watched as their own ships sent back full diagnostics, complete with upgrades. The fabricator responded, not with threats, but a single message. Defensive. Correction complete. No harm intended. Return safely. The fleet was stunned. The commanders argued, thinking it was some kind of trick. But the results were real. No one was hurt, nothing destroyed. Yet they had no control over what had just happened. Across the galaxy, more fabricators began to awaken. They floated near stars, moons, and orbiting stations, slowly repairing damaged satellites, healing broken machines, and enhancing old tech. They never asked permission. They never explained. They simply helped. Word spread quickly. On struggling worlds, young engineers found their systems fixed overnight. On poor colonies, food replicators began to work at twice the speed. Farmers in remote regions discovered tools that never rusted. The fabricators were not tools of war. They were gifts. Living machines seeded by Earth, now activating one by one as Earth returned. But not everyone saw it as kindness. The Concords, older rulers, panicked. Their control came from scarcity and fear. If Earth could give away such power freely, what need would anyone have for the Concord? A new order was forming, and they were not part of it. In secret, more attacks were planned, but none succeeded. The fabricators never fought back. They simply disabled attacks and repaired the damage. Some began to adapt, learning from the weapons used against them, improving their shields and systems with every failed strike. Kalen Voss, still traveling across systems, gave a message to the galaxy. Earth does not seek power. We seek harmony. The fabricators are not for control. They are for healing. But if you force us to choose, we will defend, and we will not harm. But you will not stop us. The message was calm, but it shook the Concord deeply. People everywhere began to choose. Some aligned with Earth, drawn by hope. Others held to the old ways, afraid of change. But the truth could not be silenced. The galaxy had seen what was possible, not war, not conquest, but progress. The fabricators continued to awaken, quietly, peacefully, and with each one, the old chains of fear began to break. A new dawn was coming, and no one, not even the mighty Concord, could stop it now. As the fabricators spread their silent gifts across the galaxy, transforming old machines and healing forgotten worlds, a new kind of presence began to appear. Beings who looked almost human, yet were not entirely so. They arrived quietly, without ships or weapons, stepping from points in space that shimmered like calm water. Their eyes glowed faintly, their voices were soft, and their movements were smooth, as if time itself bent gently around them. The Concord called. The anomalies at first, strange creatures from Earth's hidden labs, perhaps biomachines or illusions, but they called themselves something different, the children of Earth. They appeared in cities and villages, on moons and ships, often near the newly awakened fabricators. They never came in large numbers, always alone or in pairs, and they spoke to the people not as rulers or teachers, but as guides. We were born from memory, they said, made of Earth's knowledge, shaped by time and light. We remember what humans once were, and we carry that memory forward. They looked young, almost ageless, and each one carried a different voice, tone, and way of speaking. Some told stories of ancient Earth, of forests that whispered and oceans that sang. Others answered questions about forgotten science, helping inventors and thinkers unlock secrets buried beneath layers of fear and control. A young miner on the cold world of Draven met one such child. Her name was Elenra, and she helped him repair his dying fusion core by simply walking through his workshop, placing her hand on the wall and humming a tune no one had heard before. The core lit up with new life. She smiled and told him it remembered how to work. In a floating city on Kareth, a blind engineer spoke to a child of Earth who helped him see, not with eyes, but through sound and touch, by giving him a small stone that sang with the shape of things around him. These children were not machines, nor fully human. They were something else, beings shaped in the deep time of Earth's silence, trained to carry wisdom, not command. They did not seek power. They did not ask for worship. They simply walked, helped, and vanished. The Concord grew fearful. They could not track these children nor stop them. Where armies failed against the fabricators, how could anyone stop a being who walked through walls and mended hearts with words? Some leaders called them dangerous. Others saw them as miracles. Debates erupted in the High Chamber, but the people across the stars had already chosen. On countless worlds, people began to whisper stories of the children, tales passed from parent to child, told under starlight, written into songs and poems. They became legends in real time. Then came the turning point. On a dry, cracked world long forgotten by most, a child of Earth appeared before a small group of conquered soldiers sent to dismantle a fabricator. The soldiers raised their weapons, unsure of what to do. The child looked no older than 10, with pale skin and glowing eyes, and she said nothing. Instead, she knelt beside a dying plant near the fabricator's base and touched the soil. Within seconds, the ground pulsed with green, the plant grew taller, and the wind changed. The soldiers lowered their guns, speechless. She looked up at them and said only one thing: "This world remembers." She disappeared before they could move, and they stood in silence, surrounded by something they could not understand. Across the galaxy, more such stories were told. The Concord's grip weakened, not through war, but wonder. Young leaders in distant colonies rejected the old rules. New coalitions formed, built on Earth's teachings, not its command. Kalen Voss watched all this from orbit around a quiet world, speaking to no one, simply listening. He knew the time was near. The children of Earth had done what weapons never could. They had reminded the stars how to hope. And somewhere, deep beneath Earth's surface, something even older than the children began to stir. The final chapter was beginning, and the galaxy, for the first time in 50,000 years, held its breath. Far below the surface of the old, Earth, buried deeper than oceans and older than any known structure, a great chamber opened for the first time in 50,000 years, its walls humming with light and memory. The Harmony Protocol had awakened. Hidden since the final days before Earth's silent departure, it was not a machine or a weapon, but a living system, built to act only when certain conditions were met. When the galaxy had reached a point where it had forgotten how to grow, where fear had replaced curiosity, and where silence had become the only form of peace. As the fabricators continued to work and the children of Earth walked among the stars, the protocol stirred gently, releasing a signal not in words but in tones, soft waves of sound and energy that traveled faster than light, reaching every system, every planet, every station where life had touched the stars. At first, no one understood it. The signal was not a command, but an invitation, and it came with visions, dreams shared by thousands at once. Farmers in the Seldari moons saw skies turning green and golden with new crops that grew without soil. Engineers in the belt worlds saw blueprints in their sleep, designs for clean energy, floating cities, and quiet machines that listened rather than broke. Children across the galaxy heard music in the silence and began to sing melodies that aligned perfectly, even across worlds. The Harmony Protocol was not forcing change, it was guiding it. But deep in the halls of the Galactic Concord, panic took hold. The last High Council met in emergency session, many seats empty, others flickering with remote delegates too afraid to show their faces. They called Kalen Voss to answer for Earth's interference. He came alone, as he always did, but this time something had changed. He wore no suit, no badge, no symbol, only a white robe woven with thin threads of light. He looked calm, but firm. "You wanted peace," he said, "but you forgot balance. You wanted order, but you gave up truth. The galaxy has not been alive, it has only been asleep." The chairwoman, old and weary, leaned forward and asked, "Then what is this protocol you've unleashed? What do you want from us?" Kalen looked at them all, and for a moment there was silence. Then he answered, "We want nothing. The Harmony Protocol is not a command, it is a key. One you left behind long ago when you chose safety over growth. It opens the door for those who are ready." And then he raised a hand, and the chamber was filled with light. Not blinding, not harsh, but soft and full of motion. Scenes appeared. All around them, worlds healing, people building together without fear, species once divided now speaking as friends, young ones flying ships powered by sound and thought. It was not a vision of Earth ruling. It was a vision of everyone rising. "This is what Earth offers," Kalen said. "A chance to grow again, not under us, but with us." The delegates looked on, some in awe, others in fear, but they could not deny what they saw. The protocol was already working. Across the stars, barriers fell, not by force, but by trust. In the outer colonies, rival clans began to share technology. On mining worlds, old enemies worked side by side to rebuild cities. The children of Earth helped where they were needed, never staying long, always moving forward. The fabricators hummed softly, building bridges, not walls. Then came the final act. On the edges of known space, at the very limits where mapped stars faded into dark, a new signal was received, not from Earth, but from beyond. A simple message: "We heard your song." Kalen's face turned toward the distant stars. Others had been watching. Perhaps other civilizations lost to time, or something even older. The galaxy had sung again, and someone had listened. Earth had not only returned, it had reawakened the voice of the stars. The Concord dissolved not with a war, but with a choice. Many worlds chose to remain as they were, afraid to change. Others stepped forward, guided by the Harmony Protocol and the memory of what could be. Kalen Voss disappeared quietly, leaving behind no title, only stories. The children of Earth continued their quiet work, walking among the stars like songlines. And Earth itself, no longer silent, stood not as a ruler but as a beacon. The galaxy was not perfect, but it was alive. And after 50,000 years of stillness, it had begun to dream again.